Hi guys, Sean here. This is going to be my first video that I'm going to dedicate to homebrewing, and I thought a good first video would be for me to review what I used to make my first batch of homebrew. You know, I haven't really seen any reviews on YouTube that really get in depth about the kit, and I'm sure some of you probably know what I'm talking about at this point. But I did want to talk about some problems that I found, and you know, there are some positive things, but you know, I'm going to talk about that right now. So without further ado, and if I'm looking over here, it's because I want to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. So I've got here my Mr. Beer home brewery. So I'm going to talk about some things that I like and some things that I dislike about this particular part of the kit. The rest of the kit is pretty much the same as a Cooper's or any kind of, you know, canned kit that I guess you could get. But this fermenter, there's some things that I think, you know, I need to address. So what I'm going to do first is talk about the top here. You know, it just simply screws off like this. And you know, this is how you add your wort to the beer when you're done brewing it. So the first thing about this that you'll notice, and I'm going to put this up to the camera, and as you can kind of see, here I'll point to it. It's right here. This lip. Let's see. You can see it right there. Okay. There's another one on the other side, and when you've got the top on, this kind of acts as your airlock. You know, so the first thing I guess I would say that I don't like about this is it doesn't have an airlock. And I guess there is an older version of the Mr. Beer kit that there's, you know, a hole for you to put your airlock in there. But with this, the air just escapes through these holes, and, you know, that's how the CO2 escapes. You know, I guess that's simple enough, but because this fermenter is, you know, the color that it is, and if you can look at it from this distance, you can't really see inside of it. But if I put it up, you can kind of see it okay. You know, it's hard to tell if your beer is fermenting, and that's important. You know, I can take a flashlight and I can kind of hold it up to the side here and, you know, kind of see inside and, you know, see bubbles and stuff like that, but, you know, it's kind of a pain. You know, I'd prefer there be an airlock, and I suppose I could put one on, but, you know, I don't know if I want to do that. You know, so that's the first con, I guess I could say. Moving on to the next, I guess, most important part is it's got this spigot, sorry. It's got a spigot right here, as you can see. And to, you know, open the spigot, you just simply push this in like this. And, you know, pretty straightforward. You know, the thing is that it's not hard to push, but to get it to open completely, you kind of got to push hard on it. And if you've got it, you know, sitting on your table and you're trying to, you know, hold a bottle or something in one hand and, you know, not spill your beer on the floor, it's kind of awkward. And also, the beer comes out at kind of a funny angle, so you kind of got to position the bottle right so you can see if it's flowing or not. And, you know, that kind of, you know, makes things a little more difficult. I guess it would be cool if they made this part a little smaller so that you could attach, you know, a hose from your bottling wand, which I've got right here, which you know, you put this in your bottle and you push down, and then when it gets to the top, you pull it out and you've got basically a 12-ounce, you know, beer right there. You know, so that's kind of a detraction. You know, not necessarily a deal breaker, but it does kind of make bottling a little more difficult than I feel it needs to be. The next part that I want to talk about is this right here. Now this, you know, from what I can see, obviously gives it a flat surface to sit on, but I think their idea with this was that you wanted to have, you know, something to kind of collect the sediment and the yeast, you know, as your beer brews, it settles to the bottom so that your beer isn't, you know, full of sediment. But what they should have done is, you know, kind of flatten this off so that it just went all the way around. But as you can see, they've tapered it down and it goes right to the spigot. And, you know, you're bottling your first, couple bottles, and, you get to the bottom, and what you have to do is you have to tilt it, and what happens is you're tilting it, you're filling it, you're kind of shaking it around, you kind of got to put it down to put the cap on your bottle, and that swooshes everything around, and you end up getting a lot of sediment in your beer. And I feel, I guess, that maybe they could put some sort of, change the design so that it kind of catches some of the sediment. Each time I've brewed a Mr. Beer kit twice, and each time I've gotten 20 bottles of beer, exactly almost, with a little bit left over, but that was all sediment, and I didn't feel like, trying to bottle it. But the last couple bottles that, I did get, ended up having, this much sediment in the bottom. I don't have a bottle near me to show you, but that's kind of a lot. And when you're trying to pour your beer out, you want to make sure you pour it at a certain angle. You want to make sure that, you're not getting too much head on your beer so it doesn't overflow, which makes a mess. And then you get sediment in there, and it kind of makes the beer taste funny, a little bit. So anyway, that's kind of my whole thing on the fermenter. And it also has on the back liters and quarts. I don't know if you can see that. So it kind of, it helps you determine, obviously, how much water you want to add. But again, the plastic's dark, so you kind of really have to, be careful how much water you put in, because it's kind of hard to see. Overall, I would say that this is a good first beer kit. It's a $40 kit. It comes with everything you need, enough sanitizer to sanitize this, your equipment, and then your bottles, which they also come with plastic bottles. I prefer to use glass bottles for two reasons. First of all, I don't like the idea of drinking beer out of a plastic bottle. I kind of see that as being more of like a cheap beer kind of thing. And also, the bottles that it comes with are a liter in size each. And what I like to do is, after a week, I like to taste the beer to see if it's done carbonating, which generally that's not the case. Given my apartment, kind of the temperature fluctuates a lot, excuse me. Here in Buffalo, the temperature has been like all over the place for the past couple weeks. But I also want to make sure that it's not contaminated, and it's going to taste good. Just kind of eases my fears a little bit. So that's why I put it in glass bottles. So if you do get the kit, I personally would recommend using glass, just because you're gonna be able to sample your beer, and you'll get more in the end, I feel. But it's really easy to use, and it comes with directions, and it comes with everything you need, as I said. So, if you want to get started and you're not sure and you're nervous, which, it can be kind of intimidating, I would go with this kit. But if you're someone that, feels like you can handle or make a full 5-gallon batch, I would recommend going, to your brewery store, or, I know Cooper's has a kit that comes with the fermenter and the bottles and all that stuff, and it makes a 5-gallon batch, and you'd spend about $90, $99 to $100, or $90 to $100 on that. And then after that, all you have to do is buy, another kit. And here I can get a can of the Cooper's, for about $20 I could get the hop malt extract, and then dry malt extract is pretty, inexpensive here. It's about, I paid about $14 for a 3-pound bag, which isn't too bad. I think that's actually cheaper than some coffee that you can buy. So anyway, and I also have a really good homebrew store in my area that and it's not too far away. The thing with the Mr. Beer is, yes, you can order what they call refills, and you can get a refill similar to what came with the kit, which would be 1 can of the hopped malt extract and the dextrose, or you can get what's called the premium refill, which comes with 2 cans of hopped malt extract. So obviously you're going to get a better tasting beer, but the problem, in my opinion, is that they charge $7 for shipping. which is understandable. It kind of weighs a lot, but I can spend that same amount of money, get a Cooper's kit and dry malt extract, which I think makes the beer taste better, for roughly the same price, and I get more beer in the end. So good for starting off, not so good in my opinion. At least, you know, what I'm going to do is for continuing to make, you know, your homebrew. I think, you know, I decided to make 2 batches with this just, you know, because, and, you know, it's a good kit overall. It's not for everybody, but I'll be doing a taste test in a little bit. I'll put that up as a separate video, you know, reviewing the American Devil IPA that I made. So if you want to get into homebrewing, you know, go check out this kit. You know, they have it, you know, everywhere. You can actually go to MrBeer.com and it'll tell you which retailers sell it, you know, and make the decision for yourself. But, you know, in my opinion, if you're feeling comfortable and you want to, you know, make a lot more beer for the same price, I would go with a 5-gallon kit. Yeah, so if you guys have any suggestions, recommendations, if you have your own opinions, just put them down in the comments below, and I'll also add a link to MrBeer.com, and I'll also add a link to the homebrew store that I go to, Niagara Traditions. So let me know if you like this video, thumbs up if you do, and leave some comments if you have any, and I'll see you tomorrow for Homebrew Wednesday. Thanks, guys.